Welcome, welcome, good morning. It is the 3rd of July of 2025. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. Thank you for being here on another episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Welcome to the Empowered Immigrant Live. All right? And it's the day before the 4th of July. And, when I grew up, I believed that the United States was a free country. All right? I believe that. I remember saying those words. Hey, we live in a free country. You can't tell me what to do. We live in a free country. All right? I am a free spirit and a free human being. And yet right now, Congress is evaluating a bill which could detain a lot of people, could take away liberty from a lot of people. And so freedom, right, around the 4th of July. What is freedom and who is it for? And, a free country, quote unquote, well, is it? Right? It's certainly not free for everyone. And it doesn't feel that way for so many of my clients right now. And so welcome and thank you for being here. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C, where we fight for your American dream. And welcome to the Empowered Immigrant Live. All right? Remember, the Empowered Immigrant Live is here to train, teach, inspire, and empower immigrants to make the most out of immigration laws and to make the most out of their lives. All right? Today our theme is freedom, and our theme is the big, beautiful, which really it's ugly, but they are calling it the big, beautiful bill, which is on Capitol Hill today. It's in Congress today, up for a final vote before the House of Representatives. Okay? And so we'll talk about that. And as I'm talking, if you have an immigration case, please feel free. If you have a question about an immigration case, please feel free to ask me any of your questions. We're here to help. I'll do my best to answer any questions that you have here today. And as always, if you are wanting to apply for a green card or apply for asylum or apply for a U visa or for VAWA or for some kind of solution, if you are looking for advice and for some kind of solution or guidance to work your way through this maze and this craziness that is happening within the U.S. immigration system, hey, feel free to reach out to my office. We are here to help. We would love to help you. Okay? So, it's July of 2025, and Trump has just been in the office 6 months, or I think he's coming up on his 6th month, right? Because he started kind of at the end of January. But there have been so many changes, all right? And there might very well be yet another change that happens that would be a significant change if the House of Representatives does what we all think that they're going to do here today. All right? And by that I mean pass this quote-unquote big, beautiful bill, which it's called that even though it's one of the ugliest bills I've ever come across. All right? And so we'll talk a little bit about what that bill is. We'll talk about what that means for immigrants. And if you're tuning in right now, thank you for tuning in and welcome. And I appreciate your being here on this 3rd of July of 2025. All right? Thanks for being here, folks. Okay? So let's talk about this big, beautiful bill. So you may have heard something about it in the news, or you may have seen something about it in the news. It will increase the debt ceiling, all right, by a lot. It will impose restrictions on those who qualify for Medicaid. It will include changes to our tax laws and lots and lots and lots of other changes. And it will create changes for immigration law. Okay? And so let's talk about the immigration aspects of this bill. And what I want to be clear about, let me kind of pull over my notes from my other screen here. What I want to be clear about is the money piece of it. Okay? So what this bill does is $59 billion, all right? $59 billion of this bill will be allocated for Customs and Border Patrol. All right, personnel, vehicles, that will include $47 billion, which, let me see my notes here, $47 billion for the border wall and fencing and drone helicopters, right? $7 billion for CBP agents, all right? And $5 billion for Border Patrol facilities, checkpoints, all of this stuff. So there's going to be billions of dollars that go into the border. But then there's also going to be $45 billion set aside for ICE and family detention and adult detention throughout the United States. This bill will give the federal government the money it's wanting to build detention centers, all right, and to house immigrant detainees as it, is wanting to put more and more people into deportation proceedings and carry out its like mass deportation efforts. Horrible. All right? Ugly. All right? This bill will take people's freedom away. And I don't like it. And so that's what I'm here sharing. And it's like, what are we going to do about it? Well, we're going to educate people about it. And if this passes, okay, let's. If we've got to fight, we'll fight, right? Every client that gets affected by this, we're going to fight for them. And people that get detained and put into deportation proceedings, okay, we got to fight that case in court. It's a waste. It shouldn't be this way. They ought to be passing laws that actually allows people to live their lives, that actually supports people's ability to live freely. Okay? But that's not what our current president and what our current politicians in Washington are doing. And so that's where we are, folks. That's where we are, and it's a dark and ugly bill being passed that will have very serious long-term consequences. And as those consequences, I mean, it's not passed yet, right? Check the news. Maybe a miracle happens and it doesn't pass, but my guess is it will pass today. And if it does pass, then we've got to be prepared. And nothing will happen immediately, but as it all goes into effect, there's going to be a lot of power and a lot of dollars that go into the federal government and its immigration enforcement goals. Okay? So sorry to be negative and pessimistic and doom and gloom a little bit about what's going on in Washington here today, but part of my goal and part of my mission here is to educate people. I'm here to empower immigrants. Part of being empowered is being informed. And so you got to know what's going on. All right? So thank you very much for being here. That's all I'm going to say today about that. Let me answer some of your questions. If you've got questions, I'll do my best to answer them, and then we can be done here. So let's see. Makan Traore, I see your question here. You say, does a motion to reopen and dismiss guarantee after DHS agreed to a joint motion to reopen? So does it guarantee what? Does it guarantee what? I don't know. So if your question is it guaranteed to be reopened and dismissed if DHS agreed? I mean, let me say this. There are no guarantees. Even that word is like, there are no guarantees. But from an immigration judge's perspective, if both sides, if both DHS and the immigrant are in agreement, it's a joint motion, then for the judge, typically it's very easy. It's like, okay, that's an easy one for them to sign off on. So 99% of the time, I can't guarantee it, but 99% of the time, if DHS agreed to a joint motion to reopen, that motion to reopen will be approved. Okay? And it's not a guarantee, but it's 99% of the time. So if that's your situation, congrats. However, I'll say that under this administration, DHS is not agreeing to reopen or to join motions to reopen. At least it's very infrequent that they're willing to do that. And so if you were able to get that done, congrats to you. But I'm just letting the whole world know that right now, those are not getting, DHS is not being willing to join our motions to reopen. I say that from experience, okay? Alec B., I see you here. Good afternoon. You ask, if an IJ signs the approval of an asylum application, is it a legal status, or is there a need to apply for a green card, and how long does it take after the asylum approval? Okay, those are two questions there. The first question is it a legal status? The answer is yes. All right, when a judge signs an order saying you've been granted asylum, boom, you've been granted asylum. Just like that. All right, you are in 100% legal status. You have the right to stay in the United States. You have legal protection in the form of asylum. The only way the government could take that away is if they reopen your court case or if they appeal the judge's decision and if they win on appeal. The second part of your question, though, is also a good one. How do you apply for a green card? So the law says that after you win asylum, you have to wait 1 year before a green card can be issued. All right? Regulations allow a person to apply for a green card before then, but they can't approve the green card until after 1 year of your asylum approval. And there you go. All right? And how long does that green card process take? You know, that will depend by field office, 8 months to 2 years, somewhere in that range, typically. All right? Let's see. Orlando Brown, I see you here. Good morning, sir. Good morning to you. Thank you for being here. All right? Let's see. HY Div, you say, do you think with this bill they will be able to deport everyone? No, they won't. And I will certainly fight for people to prevent people from getting deported. But thank you for asking that. They will detain a lot of people. They will have capacity to detain a lot more people than they have ever been able to detain. If this bill passes. Let's see. Enid Robles, you say, me llegó el recibo del permiso de trabajo. ¿Cuándo llegará la cita biométrico? A través de un ajuste C09. Okay, thank you. Gracias. Thank you for your question. I'm glad that you got the receipts. After you get the receipts, typically the biometrics come 60 to 90 days afterwards. ¿Ok? Típicamente, después de recibir los recibos, típicamente llegan la cita para hacer las huellas, la cita biométrica, dentro de 60 a 90 días, más o menos. ¿Ok? So, very good. Andre Arevalo Junio, I see your question here. Can I close my asylum case and stay with my U visa case? Talk to a lawyer, okay? If you close your asylum case, they could NTA you and put you into deportation proceedings, even though you have a U visa pending. All right? You got to know that. So there is risk to withdrawing or closing an asylum case. It might be very wise for you to keep both going until your U visa is approved. Once your U visa is approved, then yes, close down the asylum case and you don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay? I would recommend talking it through with a lawyer so that they can give you good advice about that. And if you don't have a lawyer, or if you want a second opinion or whatever, feel free to give my office a call. We're here to help. We'd be happy to look at that. Okay? What other questions are out there? Let's see here. I see one, Regina Olson. I see your question here. Have you heard about any cases where people are detained during their biometric appointments? No, I have not. All right. No, I have not. I have not seen that. But we have heard of cases, and you've probably seen them in the news, where people are detained at immigration court proceedings. Typically, that only happens if a person has been in the United States for less than 2 years, or if they've got a serious... Great, I just lost TikTok. What's going on? Well, I just lost connectivity on my iPad here next to me. Anyway, so sorry for the person that was just watching this. I think I just lost connectivity on one of my devices. Nevertheless, I have not heard of people getting detained during biometrics appointments, and it could happen, all right? But I've never seen that, no, okay? Manuel Macala, I see your question. How long does a BIA appeal take? How likely are they to remand a case for a pending I-485? BIA appeals, that's a great question. Thank you for asking this question. They can take years, okay? As there's more and more people in deportation proceedings, now BIA appeals are going to take longer and longer. And how likely are they to remand a case for a pending I-485? That depends on a lot of different factors, right? That depends on a lot of different factors. It depends on if that's the only reason. Was the I-485 mentioned in your underlying case? Was the marriage new? Is the petition approved already? There's lots of different things to know to be able to answer that question precisely. But if you are preparing a motion to remand, or if you've already submitted a motion to remand, hey, best of luck to you. And that's great. I'm glad that you've got a pending I-485. And you want to be mindful of the fact that normally it's the immigration court that has jurisdiction over an I-485. So if they were to remand it to the lower court, you might need to fight and be prepared to fight your I-485 in front of the judge. Okay? Okay, JAL, and then I'm gonna wrap up. Okay, so you say 2 entries. One was in and out the same day. Okay, so I need to know more, JAL, in order to answer that question. Okay, Kate Axel, what happens if someone has an N400 denied due to taxes? Okay, great. So thank you for this. This is a common question, and it's just denied on taxes, that's a good moral character. It's part of the good moral character analysis. It is not part of the quote unquote deportability analysis. So normally what happens is that when an N400 is denied only due to taxes, they deny the N400, but you get to keep your green card and you get to reapply for your N400 once the tax issue is complete. Okay? So just take care of the tax issue and then reapply for your citizenship. You should be okay. If you want a more detailed analysis about that, feel free to reach out. We could help you with that. Okay? All right, you guys. Thank you all so much for being here. I really appreciate each of you. All right? And, thank you for tuning in. I hope this was useful. I hope it was helpful. If it was helpful, hey, please go to our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel. All right, hit the notifications bell there on YouTube, and you can see more videos that are like this. And please be watching what is coming out of Capitol Hill, out of Congress here today, because it's very possible that we will have this big, ugly bill passed by Congress here today, which will have enormous ramifications for U.S. immigration law and for immigrants in the United States. And so if my office can help you in any way with any of this or with any case that you currently have, please feel free to reach out. We would love to help you. My name's Otis Landerholm. I'm the founding attorney here at Landerholm Immigration, A.P.C., where we fight for your American dream. We'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks a lot, everybody. All right, happy 4th of July. I hope, I really wish you peace and some joy, right? Nobody can take our humanity away. Nobody can take away our humanity. And so be a human this weekend and be free and enjoy yourselves. And we'll see you next time on our next episode of the Empowered Immigrant Live. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.